Right, hello everybody. Back making another little video. I have actually with me Patricia, the person I was talking about in the last video that helps me. Here she is with me on this hangout. We've come on to talk a little bit about this. I put a video out last night and then I took it down because in one sense the wording on here looks like it could be either or other. And so I took it down and then I re-edited it and put it up, but I've come back to this one paragraph which I will add again. It's where Detective Bohover advised a neighbour of Chris Watts had a motion activated surveillance system. Patricia, what's your feeling on this? Because this actual paragraph doesn't really explain whose camera not working.
Well, it don't, does it? Because if you read it as it is, it's basically saying, well, it don't tell you anything. You just read it and you go, okay. But the first line, what you've just read out, is it only says it showed Chris work truck back up into his driveway the morning of Monday, August 13th, for approximately 10 minutes. And you just think, that's not how long the film is. The footage is like an hour and something long. So that was a shock to me. You know, you just think, well, the video's like I said, an hour and 40
So you reckon
minutes
that they got that
minutes,
10 minutes off of some footage? They can see it on the footage, you mean? So they know it's 10 minutes because they've seen the footage. Is that what you're talking about? That bit there when it's 10 minutes? Because that's not very long, is it?
No, I mean, he did say that it only took him a few minutes to get Shanann, once she was dead, into the truck. It took him seconds. But the way the film goes, it's like, well, they were on the drive for longer than 10 minutes. So...
that means it's bad, because that means that what we're looking at on the neighbour's footage, that bit there where the camera's going out, means that all that is on some loop. They had to loop it.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. They've stretched it and made it more than what it is. So we can't really know exactly how long he was on there for.
You know, he said it. He says it in the video. You know, when he's talking to the police officers, he says it, and he says it on the statement thing. Is saying the same thing.
Well, what time did he say he got up for work?
About 4:30.
Well, on the sentence, the paragraph just before this one, it said he left for work that morning at 5:27, and then he stated that he got up for work at 4 o'clock. No, he said he was brushing his teeth and everything, and at 4:15 he went back to Shanann and slid into bed, and then they had a bit of an argument. You know, they had to do the conversation about splitting up and that. But going back to the video, it's like you said, they've stretched that 10 minutes. I don't know how they've done it, but they've done something. So we're not actually getting the true footage, and that's what all this is about. It's like, you know, people will assume that hour and whatever minutes. This is why there's so much misinformation going out, because it's like, have they actually looked at the discovery records, the discovery files, and actually read what it says? Now, this could be wrote somewhere else. I mean, I've been trying to index it and trying to put as much information down as possible. So this could be changed in another one. But unless you look at all of it, instead of just taking somebody else's word for it, it's actually look at the discovery files and try and break down. Because, like, I'm sure it's...
Yeah, you're noticing things, aren't you? You're noticing things, aren't you? You're making little lists of things that don't add up.
Yeah, it's like, well, is it 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock? Because he said, I woke up at 5 and Shanann told me to wake her up before we went to work. And I'm like, well, which one was it? Did he get up at 4 or 5? I mean, I know it doesn't really change anything that's happened, but it's like, and we know he lied, but it's like, it's just, do we actually believe anything that anyone's ever said about anything? Even the videos that we sort of pick apart and do stuff like that. It's like I said, that drive footage is an hour and however long, 14, 18 minutes long.
I think it's about an hour. It starts like a few minutes before he starts backing the truck up, and then, but it must have started working, maybe him doing something triggered it, the neighbour's one, I mean. I'm surprised his didn't get triggered then. And then, you know, then it's on basically until after he leaves. He's actually left and the camera's still on, but you've got a good hour.
Yeah, because you know the first bit, it shows him coming out of the house twice. And that's why some people have thought there was somebody else there. But that's just, it's not looped. I think the person who actually did the video what sort of like taped it and then stopped it and then started it again, but not bothered taking the first bit off. So it was one full piece.
Well, you know, I've broken it down.
Doing it twice.
I've broken it. Listen, I think the best thing they should have done was blur it, the whole thing. Blur the whole thing. We didn't need to see that, you know.
Or not even show it out whatsoever. But yeah, the fact is, the detective was there, and we saw it on Nate's television. So of course people are going to say, well, can't we see that? We couldn't really see that on his telly. Can you, you know, we want to see it, and they've either botched it up that much to make everything fit in the timescale that Chris says, or was it 10 minutes? He was on the drive, you know.
All I can say is
he was only on the drive for 10 minutes.
That's pretty damn quick, isn't it, to do to get. Well, I know that. Oh, this sounds really bad when we're saying this, but obviously the children would have been easy to get in there. But 10 minutes and he had to move Shanann. Wow. But he was, in a sense, though. Yeah. Why would he have hung around? Why would he have been there an hour? You know.
Well, knowing him, he'd probably gone for a workout. Thought, I'll just have a bit of a workout before I'll go. I don't know. I'm just joking.
So basically, we did this little video about that paragraph. So when you were reading it, what's your feeling with the way they've written it? Because they've given us footage with him leaving. So what? It just doesn't read right, because on that paragraph, they're talking about the neighbour's footage. He's talking about Chris Watts, and then he says that there was no video, that it wasn't working, but he doesn't say which one.
Yeah, shall I just read the...
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Detective Hover, or whatever, stated the surveillance video also did not show Chris driving away. So that to me means also did not show Chris driving away, because the camera had turned off. So that had turned off makes it sound like they're on about
the neighbour,
Nate's camera. Yeah, because if there was on about Chris's, it would say that the camera was turned off, not had turned off. It's the wording. That's what got me. It's like the camera was turned off, and they would say Chris's camera was turned off, and you only got Nate's version of what happened. But it says the surveillance video also did not show Chris driving away. So if it didn't, I don't know, it just...
You mean it's like the person writing it has mashed it all into one, so you don't know, because in a sense we've got... you don't know which camera he's talking about. They've shown us, haven't they, the footage of him going. It is different to how he reverses in. He's parked on the side of the road, like I said, waits for the neighbour to leave, then reverses in. But when he leaves, he goes up that other road. He comes off the drive and goes up, just goes straight across up the road. So Where did they get that from then?
Well, there was a difference in the, you know, 1 minute it was dark and an hour later it was light. But if it was only on there for 10 minutes, it wouldn't have changed that quickly, would it? I mean, I don't know. It just.
He was in that twilight thing.
Can we trust anything? Can we trust anything that they've said? Really?
That was just the point that we wanted to put out on this little video, wasn't it, Patricia?
You what, sorry?
That was the point we wanted to make on this little video.
Yeah, none of it. I mean, you've done a lot of, you know, of actually what the footage is showing, and it's like none of it really makes sense. All them faces. I mean, why didn't they just say at the beginning, this is only just to sort of keep your mind, well, to give you this information, but why not tell us that they've blurred it? They've done all this stuff to it. You know,
and anyway, they didn't blur it very well. They didn't blur it very well. They did also, they hacked it. It's like someone's hacked it.
Yeah, it's like a 3-year-old child's just copied and pasted pictures, you know, that it's got in the magazine outside of it and just stuck all over. So it doesn't make sense. That's what it is. If they'd have just blocked out the fact that we could possibly see one of the, you know, Shanann or the kids, you know, then fair enough. But it just looks it's like it just looks stupid. And why did they bother putting it out in the first place then if it was so botched up? Did they think was that stupid that we can't work this out? That, you know, people are just going to go, oh look, you know, he's bringing profits out, you know, that time span.
Yeah, look, a couple of comments came in that said that, you know, this wasn't very respectful for the Shanann's family. But the thing is that we didn't ask for the footage. They gave us the footage. And then, you know, the reason why I looked into it, because other people were saying other things, and I wanted to see for myself. And it was only blowing it up. And there are certain people that come on the channel who are like us, who look into it and are prepared to watch the videos or even sit there messing around with footage backwards and forwards, and they see what we see. Others don't, but a lot of people do see. Some people, if they come in at, say, video number 9, they're going to say, well, what's this? This is just a blur. But it was just trying to break it down to show that that footage is rubbish. It's a total disrespect to the family. That video is a total disrespect to the family, that dry footage. Because it's
not the truth, is it? It's a little bit of the truth, but it's just made so it's not even.
Well, do you know what I think they did? Someone editing it, like I can't explain it any other way. It's like, say there's 100 frames, they took out 60 or 70 and left 30 frames in, and then stuffed something on the top, and then when you do mess about with it, the other bit is visible, the bit they left in. Or instead of, you know, in a sense, it does look like he is doing things with the bodies, right? But instead of just blurring it, they manipulated it and made it look like it was all about a red can, when it wasn't. Yes, he had a red can. I'm not denying the fact there was a red can there, or even that he carried it around. But they used that over the top to make it, to cover up what he was doing. So why not just blur it? Why go to the effort of putting a red can over it when you slow it? But why go to this effort of doing all this other stuff? Why not just blur the whole thing out so that we guess that blob and walking across is him? I just don't get it. But anyway, back to the bit that we made the video about, because we'll have to stop in a minute. It's just that the wording isn't right. But then, why would they do that, do you think, Patricia? Then stick a video out of him leaving if there wasn't one?
Basically, just keep us shut up. You know, no one wants to see someone die, but it's just the other things that don't make sense. Why put something out if it's not at least partially the truth? We don't know how long he was there for. They said there approximately 10 minutes. You know, so
well, I did show in that last video I did, Patricia, that before he shut the garage door, he sat in his car for a while, and then he shut the garage door, and then he sat in the car again for a while. And one of the times was about 5-10 minutes. He sat there. I just sped the film up because, you know, who wants to sit there for 10 minutes waiting for him to actually drive off the drive? But he was. So after he loaded them, he did sit in his van for a bit. Truck.
Do you think he was actually sat in his van, or do you think he was putting the children in a black bag because they were in black bags, weren't they?
I just don't know, because it's a bit anyway. You know, like, people said thank you very much for the last video because they've been trying to suss out where he was on the drive, and then you look at a few pictures that were taken and you can see that he's not the neighbour's side of the drive. He's actually more by his front door. You know, he's walking more up there. He's at the smaller garage. That's where he drove the van up. Well, a lot of people, why not just say that to us? You know,
yeah.
It's the same thing. Anyway, but we just wanted to point out the fact that, do you want to actually read that the actual paragraph that it says it, so that it because it sounds so confusing. Do you want to read it, Patricia, or?
Yeah, I can read it if you want.
Go on then. We'll read that and to show why it's confusing.
Right down to the end. Yeah?
Well, no, just that first paragraph. Just that first bit of that paragraph.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just the first bit of the paragraph. Okay. Detective Hover advised a neighbour of the Watts family had a motion-activated surveillance system which showed Chris's work truck back up into his driveway the morning of Monday, August 13, 2018, for approximately 10 minutes. Detective Barhover, I'll just say Detective B because it says, stated it was difficult to be precise due to the angle, but it appeared the tailgate of Chris's work truck was backed in at least a foot inside the garage. Detective B advised Chris's truck would not have been able to back into the garage any further due to Shanann's vehicle still parked inside the garage. Detective B stated the surveillance video also did not show Chris driving away because the camera had turned off.
So we're just saying it's confusing because when we were looking at it yesterday and looking actually at the words of the discovery, it made us feel that there wasn't any footage of him leaving. But we've got footage of him leaving. I mean, a lot of people...
Because it wouldn't make sense.
A lot of people are going to say, no, they were talking about Chris's stuff, but Chris Watts' stuff, but we're not sure now because it doesn't read... That's not what it actually reads.
Because it's on about NAT's motion-activated surveillance. It doesn't mention anything about Chris's. If you read it, it does not say anywhere that Chris's surveillance, motion-activated surveillance, was working or not. Does it? It just reads as it's all Nate's.
Well, there are some things in this case which just don't add up, and very quickly then, we'll leave that to see what people comment on the channel. But what do you reckon about March the 7th, Patricia? The bit that's coming out this week.
Well, part of me's thinking, I hope anything comes out, because I've just gone through all the discovery files and it's took me days to index each pages, of anything and make little notes, because if he turns around and says, this is how I killed them, this is what happened, blah blah blah, then I've done all this in vain. So that side of it, excuse me, I'm like, no. But yeah, we all want to know and it says on that picture I sent you that he is going to disclose what actually occurred in the murders. So I'm hoping that, to be honest, Shanann, Cece, Bella and Nico, they need to be left alone, if you know what I mean. especially the families. They need. But if we don't get the answers, we don't get the truth. We're all into truth, aren't we, Karen? If we don't get the truth and we can't, it doesn't make sense, then we're going to keep asking questions. Well, what, what happened here? What happened there? Did he jump on her as soon as he got through the door? Did he wait? All that. If it had been answered in the first place, or at least give us a little bit, but it was all to do with Chris, weren't it? He probably wasn't telling them. So they can only go by what he said and what they've worked out to be. Because it does say, sorry, I'm digressing a bit here, sorry.
Go for it, it's okay.
But the motion detectors didn't notice anything downstairs. So there was no movement downstairs, apparently.
He turned the Wi-Fi off, though.
Did it detect anything up?
He turned the Wi-Fi off, and then he turned it. There's a note that you told me about. That there's a note that he turned it on at 2:15 or 2:18 in the morning for a little bit, but then everything was it unspecified? That was the word they used. I don't know what that was about, but he turned the Wi-Fi off, and the Vivint cameras. Because even that bit, no one was sure if they had cameras or not. They had cameras, I think. But the cameras, nothing of that would work because he turned the Wi-Fi off.
I told you that.
No, the bit with the little...
Did I tell you that?
Yeah, the little side note about him turning it on. Yeah, you did. It was unspecified. Oh, maybe you didn't. Maybe that's someone else then. I can't remember, Patricia. I think it was you.
Oh, we've talked about a lot of stuff, but I think I would have remembered if you could be right. I apologise if you're right, but the thing is, it's not like we want to know exactly everything, but what we've been told just doesn't seem to make sense. Maybe we do need to know from the minute she got through the door what happened. Maybe we do need to know that. Because all these other true crimes and stuff, they tell us everything. So why can't they do it in this case? But I'm hoping that it does tell us the truth and that it's all...
It is a bit strange that, we've had it...
We can get on and move on to the next one.
We've had a case where he's been sentenced and then the internet cannot let go of it at all, and we're talking just as much today as we did 4 months ago, 6 months ago when it happened. And then comes this video of Shanann coming, which they should have given us before. And then now there's another statement and another thing happening. It's like, wow. I mean, there was someone who worked in the police department, whatever they did, I can't remember, I'm not sure if they said, but they said they worked. They said they found this very strange, that so much of the personal information of the people had come out. All the names and addresses. They said, I've not really heard of that before. So there's some really weird things around this case. Yeah,
I mean, you'd think that at least black them out, wouldn't you?
Well, you usually get beeps, don't you?
Data protection and all that lot. But I think they're just trying to tell us, hang on, if you're in a murder case, we're going to give all your details out. So is it trying to warn us? I mean, I don't think...
I've thought of that as well. Next time round, see what happened we did to this lot, it'll happen next time as well.
Yeah. Oh, and I just wanted to say something else. I don't know... I looked up because he's been charged with first-degree murder, hasn't he? And I looked up the laws in Colorado, and let me just find the page so I can read it. Well, basically, first-degree murder, for those who don't know, in Colorado, and I'm particularly talking about Colorado because, each state's different, isn't it? But it means willfully premeditated. That's what it means. Second degree murder is if you weren't intending to kill someone. Right, and we sort of know that, don't we? But the fact that it says, I want to just find the little bit of what I wrote down. I was looking at the charge notice and it says murder in the first degree, so I had a look and see in for the state of Colorado, because all states are different, it means, I pretty much think they're all the same to be honest, but it means willful or premeditated, i.e., planning or laying in wait. They just wanted to clarify that. So they knew from the beginning that he'd planned it. How much further he'd planned it, we don't know. But I think it was before that date, to be honest. But I don't know. I'm not him, so we can guess all we want, can't we, really? But
I sort of feel like that, but on the other hand, he was so badly organised. It was almost as if he didn't. You know, maybe it's a bit like he's got. You see, that's the saddest part about it is that this was his game, his lies. He was cheating, being unfaithful. He was the one running around. He was the one doing all these things. So it's his game, and then everybody else is just victims in his game. And then whatever happened and what he did, he murdered everybody, but it was his fault. It's all his fault. It doesn't matter if anybody was a little bit bossy or all these kind of things, or maybe they should have split up or all this stuff. They're all victims of his game. I'm pretty sure he doesn't feel the same now. I just can't, you know, I don't know what happened. It was a bit like, well, maybe it was just like a train waiting to derail. It's just that, yeah, it's just so sad and almost just the whole thing. But it's his game.
yeah, it is very sad.
And so, yeah, really horrible to think that. Wouldn't it have been easier just to have got divorced?
I was just going to say that, yeah, that's how most normal people work out the problems, they'll get divorced. But there was a lot of financial issues. And he just probably thought, well, I've got life insurances for the kids, you know, I might get.
Yeah, but how can someone go from, you know, we saw. He may not have been perfect, and I suppose over the last few months of their videos you noticed that he was a lot more shut off because he was cheating and lying, and how can you be real and positive with the person we're with and you're lying and cheating on them? But he looked like he really loved his children. You know, doing little bunches in your hair. Something obviously like, it's like he got possessed or something.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand, well, I suppose the way that she was and the way that he was, maybe they clashed a bit, and maybe him killing Shanann, you know, could have been sort of excused.
Would you know what I think? Do you know what I think on that bit there? Just on that bit there, right? In psychology, a lot of men don't seem to like their wives when their wives turn into their mothers, if you understand, when the wives are having children and now are going, do your shoelaces up and don't do this, and the men, great. Okay, so he'd gone from having a wife that was just totally looking at him and saying how wonderful he was to children, but like, you still like do that? Wow.
No, it's a bit where he kills the children. I mean, here, but it's bad enough you're killing your wife, but your children, what have they ever done to you to deserve that? It's so horrible. And bless everyone, you know, the family, Shanann.
It's not even that, is it, Patricia? It's how he disposed of them is even worse.
Yeah, I mean, it did say somewhere that he has no emotions. But yeah, it was all right. He had emotions when he was complaining about not being able to put a picture up without her permission. You know, he had emotions. His emotions for himself. That's all it was. His emotions, how he wanted things to be.
Yeah, but again, if you're lying and cheating on your partner, it's never going to be the way you want it. It's never going to work out right because you're lying and cheating. That's already off balance, isn't it? One person doesn't know that you're cheating and lying with them.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, I did make this video. I just think, you imagine that something happened when he went to see his parents. Because people said, or Shanann said, he was different when he came back from there. Then you've got Shanann. I mean, the bit I find really weird is that she was pregnant again. She would have been a bit different. She'd have probably been a bit more, if she was already an OCD person, she probably would have been a bit more OCD. You know, but she was pregnant. She was, you know, vulnerable. She was hormonal. She was also with illnesses. Her parents were worried about her. What was he worried about? texting his
Himself.
girlfriend. Yeah, it's all about him.
He's worried about himself. Yeah. Ego. Yeah. Anyway, do you think we've talked enough then about this? Because I have got some more information. I'd like to do this again, if that's all right, Karen.
Of course we will. But just to say, so first of all, it says in that documentary document there that it took him about 10 minutes. So that's just wow, and we get an hour. And the bit which I did put this video out yesterday, and then I pulled it down, edited it, and then I found myself, Patricia's going, no, it doesn't read that. It doesn't read like that. So we've read it out to you again. That the documents, they don't say it was Chris Watts's cameras that weren't working. It didn't film him, that stopped working. It sounds like it's the neighbours. So how come we've got that footage on the drive? And it's different him when he backs in, and it's different when he drives off. It's not, because I wondered whether they reversed it, just reversed him on and reversed him off. But the first bit, he's on the side of the road, and the second bit, when he's leaving, he's going up a different road. So it's all a bit bizarre. So we wondered what your thoughts were, didn't we, Patricia?
Yes. Yeah.
Yep, and so...
I mean, you can read the file... Sorry, I was just going to say, you can read the file for themselves if they want to. It's page 488.
Yeah, I will... Well, when I'm putting this video out, it'll be on the video. Patricia, this is the Unscrambled channel, signing out.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Put your comments below what everybody thinks about. Does it sound a bit bizarre? Anyway, thanks again.